I'm Erica Hollingsworth, and you're listening to the F1 podcast.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the F1 podcast. My name is Andrew Cleary. I'm with Jonathan Ricci, and we are on season 5 this year. Season 5, episode 1. John, how have you been since our previous episode, the season finale of season 4?
Man, you can't go wrong with the Formies. It's a very popular episode and, controversial with some of the awards, but I think we did a very good job. And yeah, season five. I mean, this was a dream 5 years ago. We jumped on a Zoom chat like we're doing right now and did not know what we were thinking. And think about the results. Now we have almost close to 1,200 followers on Instagram. We've been to 3 Canadian Grand Prix. We've received media credentials to cover the Honda Indy, most recently the auto show, so make sure to check out that reel. And yeah, and the F1 exhibition in Toronto. It has been a crazy project to think of. And, it's a big season this year. We have what, 8 new rookies coming in or something like that.
I mean,
Lewis Hamilton to Ferrari, McLaren as the constructors champion that will have first place in on the grid. Like for them, it's an exciting season. And to think that the checkered flag was only 90 days ago is pretty crazy to think of what has happened since then. And I am rambling, but like it's been an amazing 5 years, and I can only imagine where
well,
this is going to
yeah,
go.
so many things have happened since then, especially around the number 5, right? It's our 5th season of doing the podcast. We're in the year 2025, but also F1 75
Hmm.
happened this past couple weeks ago. So yeah, it is the 75th anniversary of Formula One this season. And to kick off the 2025 Formula One World Championship, F1 held an event at the O2 Arena in London. The event consisted of a ton of celebrities, some weird freaking musical performances,
You
but
lose.
then also the livery reveals for all the teams competing in the upcoming season, which I'm not gonna lie, Ricci, some teams really sparked my interests. But this unprecedented moment started off with a great host in Jack Whitehall. What were your thoughts on Jackie Boy kicking us
Uh,
off?
okay, so
Actually,
first
no, wait,
off,
hold on. MGK kicked us off, which was just terrible to begin with. I mean, you saw his
okay,
guitar. It looked like he made it from like a bunch of scraps he found in his backyard.
Okay, overall, my impressions of the F1 75 event. I get it. They want to celebrate 75 years of motorsport racing, especially for Formula One. Not gonna lie, it felt very elitist,
Do a barrel roll.
if I can be very honest
What
with
do you
you.
what do you mean? You mean all the people sitting on the tables weren't just pure celebrities and people of the sport?
I mean, I wish if we got the invite, then like I could say things like we did have some fans that did go there. And I'm very clear they're not elitist, they're everyday fans. But yeah, I mean, I just saw some of the prices of just the event to go there. It's just like I'm just very happy I didn't pay it and I'm watching it from home. But yeah, I when it came with Jack Whitehall, I think there was some very valuable roast making fun of Max Verstappen, saying that he's so excited to be there, or Toto Wolf. I hope you've changed your eyeballs to wet when he saw Lewis Hamilton in a Ferrari. I mean, there were some funny, awkward moments. I'm not awkward moments, but funny moments of just like the FIA and Christian Horner getting booed and Max Verstappen getting booed. And then I don't know about you, but the Austin Martins, James Bond, of course, they're gonna have another moment like that. But I don't know, it was kind of nice to kind of be back. I mean, also I forgot about this. Matthias Binotto in a not Ferrari jacket, him in a steak outfit. I thought that was pretty wild to think. And yeah, I mean, we'll get into the cars. It's just good to be back. That's all I'm gonna say. Felt elitist, but it's good to be back.
Yeah, I wasn't know what to expect with Jack Whitehall being like the host or the MC of the night. I thought he did a fantastic job, all things considered. Yeah, the roast to Max Verstappen was hilarious when, Max clearly did not want to be there, which I thought was funny because there was just 2 bottles of Moët and a ton of Heineken sitting in a bucket in front of him. And if I was Max, I would have busted into that the first second I got there to make it somewhat more enjoyable. But
I
go ahead.
I was gonna say is like there's a difference where I think if he didn't have a speaking opportunity, he probably been like, yeah, sure, like I will take advantage of them away any day of the second, but then they have to go on stage.
Well, from what I gather, that if another event like that were to happen in the UK, Max would probably not show up, considering how many boos he received.
Do a barrel roll.
And they still talk about 2021 like it was yesterday. I mean, let's get over it. Lewis has gone to Ferrari. It's a non-issue now.
Yeah, well, I think it's not only that, I think that's going to take a while for people to understand seeing Lewis Hamilton in a Ferrari jacket for someone who's dominated that team against that team for years. But yeah, I mean, the British media just loves to poke fun at Max Verstappen and Red Bull Racing.
Like
So it
we
just
just
will
need
be.
Lewis to win this upcoming season so that everyone can just shut up about it and stop complaining. It's getting
I guess
so
so.
annoying.
I guess so. I think that's probably what we need, but also like I think it would be a nice cultural shock and just reminder why Ferrari's the best team in the league. But that's just me talking. That's just me
Oh yeah, of
talking.
course,
Do a
it's just
barrel
you
roll.
talking. But yes, all the liveries were unveiled, and John, I want like to go through each one and let's rate it out of let's rate it out of four, one for every Max Verstappen championship that he's won, just to enjoy it for our fans, sort of
Do a barrel
idea.
roll.
Based on the Lewis Hamilton 2021 news, this will go over very well.
Are we gonna go from the back upwards, or are we gonna start the top down?
We'll start with the top down. So first
Sure.
one we got was well, the top down, I mean like probably in order. So they released them in order of how they finished last season.
Okay.
So we can go from the start. We can go from back all the way to the front. So at the end of the show, the first, McLaren, they kind of came out in a livery that looked very similar compared to last year with the papaya and the black stripes throughout. They have the
Yeah.
chrome on the I think it's on the intake or on the air intake at the top with that logo, and they have the MasterCard logo built into the wings. Very standard in my opinion, not much change, but what were your overall thoughts on their livery?
I feel like the orange is being lost in the car. I'm gonna be very honest in my interpretation, or the papaya is being lost. I mean, from like I think from a camera angle, if you're looking at it from up top, the chrome, it seems like it's expanded. So I think you're losing a little bit of the orange in perspective. Like I think we'll talk about Ferrari. I have some opinions about that, but that's where I'm starting to worry about like the
Oh,
team
I
is
wish they incorporated some blue into the factor or like make their OKX like not gray, but a nice chrome.
yeah.
Just to add a little pop. If it's for weight saving, like, oh my God, we've had 4 years of this regulation, and clear there were teams, but like there were teams that came out with some stunning liveries with ton of color, ton of pop. And I think McLaren's gonna be fast enough anyways as it is that they don't need to do any weight saving on the black side with regards to just carbon fiber. But I would love to see more color pop, like blue, or even incorporate some of the chrome colors in there in terms of like the Google Chrome with like the red and the green and the yellow. Like it would be just nice to have.
Yeah, I think honestly, I'm just gonna go at a 2 out of 4 here. Nothing really have changed. Just I personally think it's too much chrome and too much black, but that's just so I'm just gonna give it a 2.
Yeah, I think 2 out of 4 is good. And the one of the two is the tainted 2021 championship. It's almost like a 1.5, 1.75.
Off the next car, Ferrari, the runners up in the constructors last year. Notably for this car is a little bit more white. I don't know if they're paying homage to in the late 2000s Ferrari, where it used to have the white in the back, kind of like the Marlboro era, or just like I don't know what that era during where Sebastian Vettel was, like the 2018-ish. What I would say is I know HB is a major sponsor of the team, so I've read a rule that is something like, or I read something on Reddit. It's like about 100 million they're dropping on sponsorship. So unfortunately, there's just a lot of white. Like I would like some white's good, but for me, I don't know. I'll figure out some fun avenue where the car comes up while we're talking. I'll figure it out. I'll go on iMovie. But yeah, there's white on the back. There's white in the middle. The in the front, there's a lot of white. And personally, I think like the red is also a darker red. I think it's not as light compared to last year's. So I do have some issues with the amount of white on the car.
I like the
The color
darker red,
white.
in my opinion, personally, because it's paying more homage to the earlier Ferrari days.
Okay.
In that case, what I can't shake off is how ugly that blue HP logo looks on the car. I mean, it just looks so out of place and everywhere you put it on the, on the chassis, on the wheel wells, on the like on the wings. Like it just looks awful.
It's
It
interesting that
really kind of just really takes away from the nostalgic of what Ferrari should look like.
it reminds me, I don't know, we're Canadian, so we love our hockey. It reminds me of watching the Spangler Cup when all the jerseys are just filled with advertisements. And that's kind of what I'm feeling with this. It's like they've dropped millions of dollars HP, and it's just like we need to put this symbol everywhere. And I don't know if you
Can
noticed
they
today
like put it in a black or a red or you know what I mean? Like maybe I know it's not trademarked to be that way, but like just work with it.
I think also, I don't know if you saw this, but even preseason testing today, Lewis Hamilton, the iconic, you wears yellow or not goldish. I don't know what lime kind of gloves. Even his gloves are all white.
Ooh,
Yeah.
ooh.
So
I don't mind that to be honest with you.
I'm going to be boring. I'm going to say two again, just kind of.
See, to me, this is a 2.5 out of 4. Like, or sorry, I'm gonna give it a 3 out of 4. And the one that makes it a loss is that stupid HP logo.
Fair, fair, fair. But
It's
look,
just
if HP wants to bring us to a race, we'll change our opinion anytime, just to be clear.
yeah, absolutely. But for the time being, get rid of it. Or at least incorporate it better into it. Anyways, next one we're gonna talk about is Red Bull. And if you've seen the car last year, John, it's the complete fucking same.
Do a barrel roll.
I think let's just go with that. Then just like if it's whatever rating we gave last year, we'll just keep the same rating. So
I mean, I love it. It's a team that's just notorious for not changing anything on the car. Uh I mean, it's like I there's nothing. It's basically a carbon copy of every year.
they did have that awkward when the car came out with all the people dancing and then just like Max and Liam. I mean, credit to Liam Lawson. I know it's his first year with Red Bull as the second driver, but just he just kind of looks very awkward up there. He's just like, wait, am I really supposed to be here?
Well, and also shout out to Liam Lawson for his red carpet attire. You have very guys wearing suits, you have guys wearing tuxedos. Here he just comes up with jeans and a jacket. It's like, hey, what's up?
Yeah, no, I don't think really much is it different. Let's move on to
Rating 1 out of 4, just because it's the same
one for me.
one. Yeah.
Mercedes. So I don't know if you saw this car. I think it's a little different, more silver, which goes back to their homage, I guess is the word, of the silver arrows. It's really interesting kind of design. I know this is going to be an interesting car to watch for with Antonelli in there taking over Lewis Hamilton, George Russell playing more of the senior role. We'll talk about that in maybe next week's episode of our preseason predictions, but I think it's going back to more of the roots and stuff for this car, and like I kind of like the having more silver than the black. And I think from a climate perspective, wearing all black race outfits is really hot.
No, I think they found a really happy medium with regards to the black, the teal, and the silver incorporated within it, right? Really getting kind of the Petronas involved in the color scheme with, paying homage to the silver arrows, but also with that black iconic look that they brought over during COVID and Black Lives Matter, which I think really looks well on the car. And I think also towards the back half of the chassis where they have all those silver arrows incorporated in the body of the design looks really nice. Very clean, in my opinion. One of my favorite liveries of the year just because of how clean it looks. So for me, I'm going to give it 4 out of 4.
Yeah, I'll go with maybe 4 out of 4. I like that one. I think it's the most cleanest. I'll let you take the next one because I think this one is.
Oh yes,
Yeah,
next one,
I'm curious. I'm curious what you think.
Aston Martin. Well, I mean, the car looks different. Put it that way. Did the color scheme change? No. However, in my opinion, I'm going to be very biased here. The Aston Martin green is so iconic that I kind of like it, to be honest with you. Yeah, it looks exactly kind of the same last year, and the Aramco on the top, on the rear t wing really looks kind of, out of place there. But since they're a title sponsor, you have to kind of give what they want. I enjoy it. I think there's a nice stripe of the highlighter, but is it awe-inspiring? Is it wowing? Not really. But I love the iconic green that Aston Martin has, and I just love how they incorporate that into their design.
Also, the tires, I think this is new this year. If you're looking at it, it's got the yellow lines or gold
Hmm.
lines. I don't know what you call it. Just in line with kind of just some of the thoughts on the car, particularly, which I think is nice. It's very much different. So I'll give it credit there.
It's to help the people in the paddock know where to put the tire on the car for quicker pit stops.
Maybe, yeah, yeah, I totally agree. So I think in that case, I'll give it like a three.
Because with how slow Stroll is driving, every second matters at this point. So they're trying to figure out ways to help him, gain quote unquote advantages anywhere he can.
What are your thoughts, rating wise for this car then?
I'm gonna give it 2.5 out of 4 because it's a lot more black than I thought it was gonna be, but like the green really speaks to me well.
I'm gonna go with three. Alpine, next car. For those that don't know, it's always a mix between pink and blue, and throughout the seasons, they've gone with a majority of one color and another the pink. So they've always switched it up. I mean, so what they showcased, it's like blue, but predominantly pink. So I don't know what your thoughts of this. Alpine's always a very interesting car because like not a lot of teams do what they do in terms of their switches the colors.
Low key, this is the best thing they've made in the last 2 years.
Do a
Or the
barrel
last thing they
roll.
put out in the last 2 years, in my opinion.
Even with all
Um,
those
can,
influential athletes getting involved.
I personally, I've always liked BWT as a sponsor on cars, like Racing Point. I loved like the all pink chassis for a reason. It was something totally different. It stood out on the grid. I loved it when Alpine did the all pink livery with regards to those first couple races a few years ago, and then he went back to the more traditional blue. Last year it was just like black with some bit of blue and pink. So I'm really happy that they predominantly stuck to their Alpine root colors while incorporating the BWT sponsorship in that. I think you see a lot this year is like you'll have like a primary color on like the nose and front wing, but then the chassis will be, or maybe a secondary color, and then the chassis will be like that, will be like the main body color. So
Hmm.
I personally love this one from Alpine. You got the pink kind of blending into the front wing from the BWT all the way up to the chassis, which is just that nice iconic Alpine blue. But then you have that hint of the BWT pop of pink right in it. I think it's a winner in my books.
Yeah, I'll take your opinion on that. I kind of like that. So I think for me, I'm just gonna go with the three on that. I think it's always interesting when you have to mix those colors and what Alpine does. And I think it sometimes can be like a risk reward scenario, but I think they were able to kind of maintain it this year. I didn't really like the design of last year's car, if I can remember specifically, but they I think they went back more of their original roots this time around.
Yeah, I'll give it 3.5 out of 4 for sure. All right, we're gonna move on to V-Carb, which, in my opinion, I wish Red Bull flipped their livery designs because Ricci, this one is so catchy.
What I don't understand, Andrew, is why has this not been like a car color before? Like even let's talk about the AlphaTauri era, and even during that, like yeah, it was a nice car, but like when it's this all white, it's beautiful. And I'm gonna be honest, 4 out of 4. I think it's the
Oh,
nicest car, and I think yes, there was just some funness up there with roasting Yuki and stuff. But I think overall, like the car looks beautiful. I really like the white. I think it's clean, it's crisp. But Yuki has noted that he's probably gonna have to be more careful because that car might end up in the gravel a lot more.
no, I agree. I love how the Red Bull is incorporated in the air intake at the top, as well as the front nose, right? All white going back. Visa was just a really great logo on that white background. And then what I love in the back of the chassis or those Racing Bull logos coming out in the gradient so that it kind of like what Mercedes did with their silver arrows, V-Carb did with the Red Bull logo, and I think it looks so clean. 4 out of 4, 4.5 out of 4. I love it personally. Probably in my opinion, the best livery on the grid this season.
It really stood out, and I think hopefully they get some good merch for this.
I'd buy merch, to be honest with you. With this stuff, it just looks incredible.
Well, another car that looks really good is the Haas. I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty clean.
It's super clean.
So it's got like I think it's a white, and then the Haas is all black, and a little bit the MoneyGram, a little less red compared to previous years, I would say. But I think it's another clean car. I give this like one like I'm gonna have to jump already to the next car. I think this is like a clean 4.
Honestly, I agree. I think it's another 4. Like the lower cars, like the lower tier cars in terms of performance, really knocked it out of the park in terms of their livery this season. Maybe it's more eye-catching for us to watch in the midfield this season. I don't know, based on that. But I love, yeah, because Haas has always been notorious for just like all black, right? They used to have white, but now they're really kind of like bringing everything together with the Haas and the black, but the white stripes on the side pods. But that red around really just makes it stand out, in my opinion. And I agree, 4 out of 4 looks incredible, and I hope they do well this season. In that
It's
case.
very interesting because like as we go down towards in the teams, the cars are like getting much cleaner and crisper because even the Williams looks really nice. They still have the Duracell on the top of the seat, but
Thank God.
predominantly looks like predominantly
Like one of my
blue.
favorite parts about the Williams livery is the Duracell battery.
Yeah, and like seeing, but I also like how they're all their vests or so their team kits are all white.
Yeah, and this year something new with regards to Williams that they have a title sponsor now. Atlassian is their title sponsor. I apologize if I butchered that, but this is like now McLaren is the only team that does not have a title sponsor really going into going into the season. And
Yeah.
for Williams, I know people are going to say, well, like it's all about the name, why are you doing this to the name? They can't compete without the sponsorship money, right? They kind of need that title sponsorship dollars to really be able to pull through. So, yeah, you know what? It looks great. The blue is super clean throughout, graded into the black. I wish they incorporated more of that golf teal logo or that baby blue in the design.
Yeah, I know they'll probably do like a specialty car like they did in previous years and have more of that orange and that golf. Mindful that it all depends on if that team is willing to give more money or obviously having a major sponsor, they get more of the priority and space on the car.
But for me, 3.5 out of 4.
Yeah, I'll go with that. And then I guess
Last but not least, we're going to go to Sauber, and they kicked off the evening. And to be honest with you, I wasn't expecting much from them. I was expecting just like a complete, same kind of last year black car with some hint of green elements and whatnot. But they really set the table or the tone for the evening
yeah.
by incorporating that kick green in the nose of the car into that front wing, and then the chassis kind of like that all black. Um, I think it looks really good, a big step up compared to last season. But again, that's going to be a car you're going to be seeing at the back of the grid for the most of the season.
Yeah, it'll be hard to say like where this team, I mean, we'll talk about this in our pre-season predictions, is like what is the objective for this season before Audi steps in. So I think the focus, like the car does look cleaner in the sense you're having the green in the front and the black. So I'll give them credit to it, but like I think expectations are probably very low in that like I mean they need to also figure out how to do pit stops. I think that is probably a key thing that they need to figure out this season. All joking aside, please sponsor a Sauber / Kick. But yeah, I would say maybe a 3. I'll give this car a 3 as well.
Yeah, I'm gonna go 2.5, just because it was like I think it was a lot of black, but I love the note of like that lime green in your face at the beginning of at the start of the car.
And I guess there you have it. That is our interpretations of what the cars look like based off the F1 75. Again, not gonna lie, it felt like an elitist event. But if you're celebrating 75 years, why not do it in a major stadium? And I kind of wish Carlos Sainz sung "Smooth Operator" on the mic there.
Well, I wish he did. It's funny because like we'll talk about this more in the preseason side, but the FIA really instituted at that event that their FIA acronym stands for fun isn't allowed.
Do a barrel roll.
Because Gordon Ramsay was on the mic at one point, he said a couple swear words and then his mic got immediately cut.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like, just brutal.
And I really hope that teams and stuff push back on some of this stuff. Like, I think it's a little personally ridiculous. And yeah, if Gordon Ramsay needs to go talk more, I'm happy to. And maybe the FIA needs to go to Hell's Kitchen. I don't know. They'll have to figure it out.
Great episode today, Ricci. Excited to talk about our preseason predictions, but also the preseason testing review. Today was the first day of it. There was a lot of great information or great notes about it. But again, it's testing. Anything can happen. So in our next episode, episode 2, we are going to talk about our review of preseason testing and kind of mold that into our preseason predictions. Because in a couple weeks we have Australia.
It's wild to think that, I feel like we just finished with the season 2024. And now we're going to go into season 2025 in Australia. Yeah, it kicks off in Australia. And, we're going to see new drivers on the grid who we've not seen before. We've seen some team changes. How is Oscar Piastri going to do at his home race with the focus all going to be on Lando? And how is Lewis Hamilton going to do his first race in a Ferrari? How is Liam Lawson going to be able to contain Max Verstappen? But tune into, I guess, next week is where we'll top off on preseason testing. And tell us in the comment section below, what do you think of the cars this season? And provide us some bold takes of what you're looking out for in 2025. Andrew, as always, it's so great to chat with you. And thank you to our community members for supporting us throughout this last couple of years. Lots to talk about with 2025. And we'll see you in next week's episode of the F1 Podcast. I'm Jonathan Ricci. That's Andrew Cleary. Erica could not be with us this week's episode, but tune in next week. We'll talk more Formula One.